Hope you're enjoying your visit here this evening. Now, on with the show.
Hello, this is Paul Stefan, and welcome to another episode of TV Free Baltimore's Movie Reviews. And today we're very lucky to have as our guest Baltimore's own prolific actor, Johnny Alonso. Welcome, Johnny.
Hey, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. It's been a long few days back in town, but I'm happy to be back.
You're the hardest working guy around.
It's the hardest. Hardest at working. Getting work. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
Because right now, you have a lot of projects going on. Right now, isn't this one The Clean Job?
Yeah, the mafia film.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that for starters.
It's phenomenal.
Being shot here?
Mainly in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Yeah, Georgetown area.
Okay.
Yeah, in southeast Washington. Playing the character Ignacio, or Iggy.
Okay.
And he's stereotypical, mobster, wise guy. Comes from that type of family. And I can't give away too much because, like I said, but just mix the romance from Goodfellas meets The Sopranos, meets Godfather. All the stereotypical.
Right.
And more, but it's a great story, and it's definitely going to take you around. It's going to put you on a wild ride.
Is this to be a feature film?
No, this is actually a short film.
Okay.
Which might be a what do you call it? A pitch.
Okay.
For like a Netflix series.
Oh.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah, like
another reason why the agent wanted me to do it.
So like a pilot, sort of.
Kind of, yeah. You make it. Yeah, it's kind of like a pilot, but not just for in-house. So if you make it a short film.
Right.
You can still submit it to film festivals.
Yeah, you can go, the festival circuit.
Yeah,
sure.
man. Yeah, it's good.
Well, that's terrific. And then how about one I was really excited about, because I interviewed a lot of people on that film, Bill Tillman and the Outlaws.
Oh, yeah, it's great. The new Western film that we shot.
Yeah.
Directed by Wayne Shipley. It's a very good friend of mine. He and Patty, they're phenomenal.
Well, you've acted for him before.
Yes, in Day of the Gun.
Where you played The Undertaker.
The Undertaker. What a cool role. To touch base on that was one of the hardest roles I ever had to play because, as an actor, you kind of drive your force with dialogue. The Undertaker was like a Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin kind of character.
Oh, okay.
Which I had no dialogue, but I had to get I had to interpret what they wanted physically and with action, and it was not easy, man. So I just went over the top, and Wayne was like, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it."
Oh, you like
I was like, "I don't know how much I got left, man. This is not easy." So, but he loved it, and it's one of my favorite clips on my demo reel that we sent out to casting in Los Angeles.
Does that give you a new respect for the old silent comedians like Keaton and Chaplin?
Absolutely. I always say character actors, which I like to be considered. Anyone can hold a gun and wear a suit. It's what you got going inside it, man. So to do a character without any dialogue and to kind of shine amongst actors in a scene that are incredible, it's difficult, but that's my thing. I love being tested. I don't like being the smartest guy in the room. If I'm the smartest guy in the room, there's something wrong with that room.
Okay.
I've got to be tested. So that's what I did with Day of the Gun, which got me into Bill Tillman and the Outlaws.
Well, great.
Yes.
Now that movie, if you want to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about your role, because are you Big Joe?
I'm Big Joe.
You're Big Joe.
This is how I'm such a big guy. That's the joke of it all. There's Big Joe and Little Joe and Ma Darling, who was played by the wonderful Lana Wood, Natalie Wood's sister.
Right.
Lana was also a Bond girl. She was in Diamonds Are Forever.
With Sean Connery.
With Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Great. So she was just awesome to work with. But yes, I played Big Joe, and Little Joe was played by a very good friend of mine, Patrick Boyer.
Okay.
He's like 6'5".
And you're how tall?
And I'm only 5'8".
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the whole joke of it all. I'm Big Joe and he's Little Joe, and but he respected me as if I was the 6'5" brother.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, but it was just it's a great play on the names, and this film is it's a really cool classic cowboy western.
But it's about movies too.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I mean, that's the thing is,
Yes. Yes, it is.
I had Ken Arnold in here, and we talked about it just before he started filming, and I knew the character, Bill Tillman, the real person.
Sure.
Everybody in the audience should know Bill Tillman was a real guy, and a real sheriff, a real badass sheriff.
That's right.
Who I think got more, outlaws captured than anybody in the Old West. He worked with Bat Masterson and Wyatt Earp in Dodge City.
Boy, you know your history. You should have been on our set.
I wanted to come, believe me.
You should have gotten in touch. I would have gotten you a pass, man.
Great, because I would have because they said all kinds of people were going up there. Because I mean, even this one young lady, Alexis Barone, she had something to do with it. She had something to do with it, and she was going to try to get me in too. But I can't get Shipley in here yet, but I'd like to get him.
We'll get Wayne. I'll talk to him. Don't worry.
But anyway, it's about a sheriff, and he's they're talking about a film because the real Bill Tillman did make a film about his old days.
Correct.
But the premise of this movie is
basically what you were just talking about. It's about a Californian director that comes into Bill Tillman's town and says he wants to shoot a movie about a bank robbery. But instead of using actors, he really wants to use the outlaws or the prisoners in Bill Tillman's jail. And I can't say too much about it.
Don't say much
I don't
more
want
about
to
it.
spoil
Don't give it away.
No, but it's very cool because, it's a film, it's a cowboy film about somebody making a film within the movie. And it's really, really cool. Lots of action, lots of gunslinging, lots of horse riding. We had such a blast, man.
And it's, historic too, because Bill Tillman is not the only historical character that's being portrayed in that film.
No.
William Seelig is being portrayed in the movie. I mean, there's
Bat Masterson.
There are all kinds of people that were in real life are being portrayed in this movie.
Yeah, well,
William S. Hart.
William S. Hart. I was just going to say that. God.
With Johnny Crawford. Yeah.
Johnny Crawford was in it. I mean, just
the gun.
Robert Carradine.
Oh yeah, one of the Carradine
Darby
brothers.
Hinton. We had a great cast.
Yeah.
And to work with them for almost a month in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, man, it was a cush job. We had such a blast, and the town just took us in as their own. And
that's terrific.
Yeah, I mean, we had a wonderful set. I mean, the little town, the western town that they built, looked like the set of Tombstone.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you had the livestock, and you had the church, and you had the hardware store, and the blacksmith, and the houses. It was just something else, man.
But the thing for an indie, it almost seemed like a Hollywood movie, even just with the level of the cast that you got in this film. That I said I knew this is something. It's not going to be just a festival movie. I think it's going to get general release. It's going to be maybe even big because not very many westerns are made these days. And tell you, there's even fewer westerns being made these days that aren't made by Clint Eastwood.
So true. You're absolutely right. And One Eyed Horse Productions, they're the ones that have put this together, the Shipleys and Company, with Dan Sears. I mean, Dan Sears is a phenomenal writer. He's the one that wrote Bill Tillman.
Oh, okay. Well, it'd be great to get him in here.
Yeah, you need to get him in. I'll get him in. I'll get everybody for you. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thanks, John.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. But you're right. There aren't many Western pictures coming out. There are, but
this year I saw one was with Christian Bale.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That I just saw that on Netflix.
That was one of the biggest one.
That was a good
18
one.
So far.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But at this independent level with these great names, and it's a character-driven film, and it's a story that's driven by great actors, And like I said, we had a great time blasting off 20,000 rounds of ammo. So. You'll like it, man.
That's a lot, I'm sure. And then, of course, one that you around and you were in I guess you already were in D.C. about or doing the D.C. premiere of What Death Leaves Behind.
Yes, that What Death Leaves Behind. The premiere. We had the premiere in Philadelphia a couple months back, but we have a screening for it at the Miracle Theater in Washington D.C. this Thursday.
Oh wow.
Yeah. What's today? Is today Wednesday? Today's Tuesday.
Tuesday, right.
So 2 days from now.
If it's Tuesday, it must be Baltimore.
Yes.
Thursday, it's Washington.
Right.
You don't want it today anyway because they're having the big Capitol celebration, the big parade.
Exactly. But What Death Leaves Behind is a super cool psychological thriller that we shot in Philadelphia through Smash Productions. And I was blessed to be a part of that cast, man.
And you played a bad guy, didn't you?
Real bad. Seriously sinister, super bad guy. It's kind of my brand, those rock and roll bad guys, My agent always says, and I always say this, it's better to be typecasted and work every day than being typecast as a non-working actor.
Right.
Think about that. You know, if you find your brand,
Good
man,
point.
if you find your brand and you work at it and you become the best, you know, you'll get called. Because if you are an actor, you can always bounce in and out of it.
Well, it's good for you to think of that
Yeah.
because, you know, in old Hollywood, even the top stars pretty much had limited range. We only want to see Gary Cooper do this. We only want to see Cary Grant do that.
Absolutely.
You know, that kind of stuff, so that it's not a shame to say,
No.
you've been typed.
No. Why would I be ashamed? I mean, I bought a house and I got a couple cars, man. Give me a break, you know. But I mean, as an actor, you know what you can do and what you're good at, right? But I also know as an actor that your job is to act. So if somebody asks me to do something that's like totally out of my reach or what I'm used to, well, then you give it a shot. That's what you're supposed to do.
Stretch yourself.
Absolutely, man. If you played by the rules, no one would ever have made it. I got my degree in acting at NYU at the Actor Studio. And right out the gate, my first audition I booked was All My Children.
So that was your first
That was
professional
my
job?
First professional job.
You got right in there.
And it's been downhill ever since.
Were you on there for what, like a year or what?
I was on there for almost a year,
Playing
64
Seth.
episodes. Seth, yeah. Man, this guy's scaring me. I played Seth. I was Susan Lucci's nephew. 64 episodes. I worked with the likes of Sarah Michelle Gellar,
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Kelly Ripa,
Yeah, wow.
yeah, Matt Borlini, and great story. Sarah was just leaving the show when I was coming on.
Oh, okay.
And we became friends. And
Terrific.
she was like, listen, I'm going to LA, man. I said, I'll stay in touch. So a couple months into her Los Angeles trip, I gave her a call. I said, hey, how you doing? She's like, I'm fine. She goes, I hate LA. I'm like, what's the matter? She's like, well, I've been auditioning, but I can't book anything. And I was like, well,
Wow.
what have you been auditioning? She's like, well, I'm on hold for this vampire pilot.
Okay.
Which turned out to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So she did really well, needless to say. You know, and Kelly Ripa was always sweet on set, and Matt
Terrific.
Borlini he was my boy. So it's been a good career.
Well, you mentioned Dan DeLuca, and he had done some
Great
of that
guy.
stuff, and I think Ken too, a little bit of soap opera stuff.
Yeah, they
And I
all-
say, do you, like them, say you find that to be a great training ground for acting? Because it's every day, you have to know your lines, it's 5 days a week, you know, it's intense.
Yeah. The answer is yes to all of the above. Yes, yes. It's the most grueling. I mean, when you were at my level, I had a lot of lines, right?
Yeah.
But I was still at the lowest part of the totem pole. I was one of the first people there and the last one to leave. They said, that's your deal. You haven't earned your stripes.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, you're there the entire day and you're freaking out about your dialogue because they don't give you a lot of grace. You know, remember, TV and film timing are completely different.
Right.
Film timing, you can stretch it out a little bit. You can work with it. Television, if it's a 30-minute episode, this is as much time you have for your scene.
Right.
You better get it done. If not, you're getting clipped.
Right.
And Dan and Ken will tell you the same thing. It's grueling, but it's amazing. It's an amazing way to work and hone your craft.
Great.
No question.
Now, what was your first movie?
What was my first, major motion? I think Serial Mom, maybe?
Serial Mom?
Yeah.
That really was the first big
I think it was my first big break.
John Waters.
Yes, he's a friend of
Local.
mine. Yes, local boy, right? I'm going to be seeing him this
Yeah.
Saturday. this Saturday in Los
What
Angeles.
I'm just saying is that, did you come to Baltimore and get the audition that
How
day? How did you get the part?
Yes. I came back from NYU and I submitted to casting director Pat Moran.
Pat Moran,
Yes.
I'm trying to get in here.
She's great.
I wanna get her in here.
I haven't seen her in a long time.
Why don't you get a hold of her and tell her to come in
I
here?
should. I'll get
Tell her to come
get
in
on
here.
the phone. I should.
I already sent her a message, but I haven't
Did
heard
you?
back yet.
Well, I guess, I could because I can say that Dan, Ken, and myself have been here.
Yeah.
And she's had all of us. She's booked all of us. We owe a lot of thanks.
But I want
to
to talk to her about things like, when she used to act in Waters movies too.
Yeah, those were the days. But yes, man, Serial Mom, I think was my first break into major motion, and then after that, it went over to Rules of Engagement. I remember working with Samuel L. Jackson on that.
It was great to be in the first one because, you got to work with Kathleen Turner.
Oh, she was great. My scene was at Hammerjacks, which is an old
Yeah.
rock club in Baltimore.
Well, they're going to revive it again.
I heard they are. I heard. And my scene was right out front of Hammerjacks, and Kathleen Turner's coming in. We have all our dialogue right before she comes into the club. And what a day that was, man.
I bet.
Yeah,
For a young guy,
L7
young
was
actor.
playing. Yeah, it was, dude. I was on, I was on the 7th level. I was like, I can't let this go.
You can say this is the chick from Body Heat,
Exactly. we all love that movie.
And that, I mean, that she even went. She went to the same college I went to.
You know which one?
UMBC.
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Get out.
I think she was just leaving as I came, or she might have been a senior when I was a
That's so
freshman.
cool. I didn't have no
Yeah,
idea.
because she was in the theater department there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Now, of course, you've done movies and TV. Have you done any stage?
Yes, I mean early in the day. I mean,
Not since.
I haven't had
Do you
any
want to
time.
go?
I'd love
Do you
to.
want to do more?
Absolutely.
Regional or Broadway? Or
I would like to do off-Broadway stuff if I could.
Off-Broadway?
Yeah, but only because, look, I am a musician, like I said, so I like to sing.
Right.
I do play instruments. My parents danced the Argentine tango. I danced the salsa, merengue, bachata, swing dance, all that. So we were brought up around the arts.
Terrific.
I always tell people, my brothers and I, our parents are doctors. So growing up, in Howard Beach, New York, or coming back down here, my parents never had time to take us to practice for football, baseball, lacrosse, whatever. But they just bathed us with Marshall amps and drums and guitars and said, "Do your thing. We're not in the house anyway. Play as loud as you want." So we became musicians, and we got into the light of the arts. Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah, man.
Now, you're acting, we'll say 20 plus years.
Yeah.
What have you learned about the craft of acting in that time?
I've learned how to let go.
You think that's the biggest thing?
That's for me, because I know when I first started out, like anyone else, when you are kind of like that private ranking amateur, you tend to say, I got to do it this way. I got to be very rigid. I got to say it a certain way. That's not acting. That's being a parrot. To being able to let go and to listen to a good director and trust their judgment. I've also learned that you make the director's job and the producer's job a lot easier if you kind of have an idea of what you're going to look like on camera. They say, okay, listen, this is how I want the scene. And they're telling you and they're describing it to you, and the camera's pointed like this one right here. It's pointed in front of me. I already know what I'm going to look like.
Yeah.
If I know that if I feel good about the way I look and the way I'm acting, I can guarantee the director is going to be feeling the same way too. Because if you're not gelling and if you're not vibing with that certain look, certain image, certain attitude, it falls apart. So I've learned how to almost create, in front of the camera, but know what's happening behind the camera. Kind of get a general sense of how it's going to look.
Right.
But like I said, letting go was the biggest thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
And how do you prepare for a role?
I'm one of those guys, if you can't tell, I have a lot of energy. And I have ADD. So my memory is the worst. So I have to read and read, and I read it over and over and over and over and over until they say action.
Yeah.
I nonstop reading.
Okay.
But I don't just memorize my dialogue. I memorize everyone else's on the page.
Wow.
That's just how I am. That's just how I work. For some reason, it's been my curse.
So not just the cue to for you to start talking. The last thing they say.
I know their monologue before mine, and
there you go.
That's why I can't sleep. I don't know, man, but it's not an easy thing. But that's my method, and
that's your way of.
That's my way of doing it.
Getting into a role. Now, Hollywood and anything in movies, TV, it's a business.
Yes.
And how or advice you might give to people who are interested in it, how they break into the business, how they can get a role. I mean, because I know you've said before, especially with Don and Marty, that you think that your job is not as an actor, but going to auditions.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorites. Man, you're good. You got all my information. I mean, I don't even have anything else to say.
But talk about that.
Yeah.
You can expand on it because it's your life.
I can. I always tell, because, people still come up to me and they say, my kid, I'd like to put them in something. How do I start? I don't know where to begin. I always tell them this. Classes. Mm-hmm. I'm not joking. Training. Like anything else. If you want to be a doctor, you got to go to school, right?
Of course.
Yeah, if you want to be a lawyer, you got to learn. Everybody thinks that they can act. Yeah, you can act to a degree, but if you can't take direction, if you can't let go, if you can't see what the director's mind's eye is, what they're trying to get, and meet in the middle somewhere, forget it. You're not acting. Classes, training from reputable, teachers. Sometimes at school. I mean, kids, Yeah, you can take classes in school, for older, adults or what have you. I always say just go to a reputable coach, because there's always going to be a student in the class that's going to know more than you, and or has been doing it for a while, and they say, hey, I'm with this agency, and then you just start soaking up the network, Always be humble. Yeah, always just be cool, man, just be cool. Don't act any bigger than you are. There's no need to.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I'm a 300-year-old vampire, man, What do I have to prove? Just do it, and enjoy yourself and find yourself. Know who you are. That's another thing, too.
Yeah.
If you know that you're insecure, great.
Okay.
Either let it work for you, or it's going to burn you. You don't get in this business to fail. You get in this business to win. So you find a way to go forward. You have to be your only. You are your only cheerleader in this industry. You can find others that cheer you on, but you have to be your biggest cheerleader. And I'm a very positive person. I've never had any problems with rejection.
Yeah.
It's another thing too, man. If you hate being rejected, step aside. Do not get in this industry. It's just,
I would say that with acting, a lot of it is all about rejection.
all of it, all of it. Yeah, and even the choices that you want to bring on set. No, that's wrong. Take this direction, because what you're doing is absolutely wrong. But you have to have your guns filled with something, So my advice to actors always that are starting out, training, and a want and a belief. That's it, man.
Now, would you tell people to get an agent or a rep?
Yeah, when you're ready. You don't want to go out there with an agent because you got a great look, and then all of a sudden you go out there and then you fail miserably at your first audition. What if that audition's with a great casting director? She's never going to call you in again. First impressions are everything. The audition starts the second you walk into the waiting room. Because I do a lot of casting in LA, and I will see some really bitchy actors in the waiting room, and then they come into the casting and they're sweet as pie. Get out of here! Come on, man. I don't want you on set. That's how you're going to be. So it starts the second you walk in. That's what I said. Be humble. Have humility. Just be cool, man. Because it's not an easy industry. It's not. And people will drag your name through it. They'll try to drag you through it if they're inferior. But if casting and other big names, producers know that that is not you, they're not going to listen. There's so much stacked up against you out there. So you just keep your head low and you just learn the business.
But be yourself, be genuine. Because like you're saying, somebody who might be bitchy while they're waiting and they try to be sweet and ingratiate themselves with you as a casting director, they're phony, exactly. And phoniness will show itself on the screen.
Without question. That's exactly it, man. Like I said, let go. That's the biggest thing in acting, man. Just let go, man.
Well, that's important.
Yeah, dude.
So, is there anything else you'd like to bring up at this point? What's going on, and anything else going down the road for you at this point?
Yeah, Riddle House.
That Riddle House, yeah.
That Riddle
House.
I said,
that maybe this summer,
yes,
we'll do a Skype interview with you.
That's what I want us. That's what I want us to do, man. So I'm producing that.
Shannon Elizabeth.
Yes, we have her on the docket. Tracy Faraway, my favorite person in the world.
Right, exactly.
Been talking to a lot of people, man, in this project. It's been a year in the making.
And you're the producer. I'm
one of the producers, yes. Wow. And I'm playing one of the leads.
A production credit before?
I have, as associate producer on Coffin 2.
Okay.
I'll also be getting associate producer, I think, on Coffin 3, if they let me.
Right.
So, but yeah, I have a producer credit in Riddle House. I have a piece of the action. And
great.
Riddle House will also be a franchise. I'll be able to retire after Coffin 3 and Riddle House 2. That's how I look
great.
At it. Yeah,
but you're not like some people. Because let's just say you're not considered A-list.
No, so A-minus is what my agent calls me.
Because you don't have your own production company, or just saying I'm Johnny Alonso, the film will get made.
Yeah, no.
You don't get greenlighted.
No. If anything, I'm Johnny Alonso. Really? We don't want to see that movie. No, I've learned that you just work. That's my father's ethic. Just work. Yeah. Just work, man. Just work. And, if that time comes, great. Where I have that kind of credibility and that strength that if my name's on a box, that it'll, I won't lie to you. Yes, when I was on One Tree Hill, that fan base grew up with me. Yeah. So, being in like Coffin, they recognize my name because a lot of those people like that kind of horror, psychological kind of movie. Yeah. Being on Gotham, I have my own fan base. But I don't have that fan base that others do. I'm happy where I am, man.
Well,
it's hard enough as it is, you know?
You don't say, man, I want to carry a picture. I want to be a star. No, I want to be one of those big people. I want an Oscar. I don't know.
I have a hard enough time just hanging out in public, you know, because, you know, you kind of get pulled left and right. And when you do get, you know, somebody says, oh, weren't you in such and such? Weren't you the host of NASA 360? Weren't you in this movie?
Oh.
You know, stuff like that. It gets tiring because, you know, you want to be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm a nice guy to begin with, at least I think I am. Okay. And, you know, I don't want to say no to them, but if there are 30 people in front of you that want to shake your hand and talk to you, and you give 1 minute, 2 minutes to each, that's an hour of your time.
I know.
And it gets really tiring. So I feel bad for celebrities. I feel really bad for A-listers because they can't do anything.
No, they have no private life.
Zero.
Can't go to the grocery store, anything.
No, I can still get a Jack Daniels at this is Lansdowne Bar, whatever it's called out here. You know, it's no problem.
Inn.
Yeah, exactly. I have no problem walking into a bar still. It's cool.
We'll have you maybe come over with us after the interview.
That sounds fine, you know? I could use one. But that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, you know, I enjoy my life. You know, I like to snowboard. I like surfing. I like skateboarding. You know, I like, you know, I like playing rock and roll and, you know, shooting GoPro videos in Mission Beach.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of A-listers can't do stuff like that without getting hounded, and that's just not my bag, man.
When you mentioned the NASA thing, I wanted to bring up one trivia thing that I found about you, that there are many, many people who have heard your voice and didn't know it was you, which is at the Holocaust Museum.
Yes. Yeah, how cool is that, man?
When they have, I guess, the listening tour, you're one of the characters.
That's me. At the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., I am the voice of Daniel, and I take you through the tour of the exhibit called Remember the Children. Okay. It's very sad. I remember booking this early on in my career. I didn't know if I wanted just to act, if I wanted to do voiceovers, if I wanted to go back into music. So I was doing everything, spreading myself too thin. Yeah. But the agent I was working with, she said, listen, there's a voiceover for a character at the new, before it was open, Holocaust Museum.
Exactly.
And Smithsonian. And they're having a national audition. And she's like, you kind of have like this quality about your voice that I think that you might be a good candidate for it. So I was like, all right. So I went to National Geographic, and I didn't know what I was doing. And they were like, just read. I was like, just read? Yeah, just read. Okay, so I read it. And they didn't say anything. And I'm like, oh God, I bombed. And they were like, wait here. So they pulled in a couple more people, and I'm like, oh, this might be good. Can you do that again? Sure. So they gave me a little more direction, and like I said, let go of what you think is right, and just take direction from whatever they said.
Sure.
And they said, can you give me different inflection? And I don't want you just to pretend like you're there, because we can't really pretend that we're there. I want to hear a little more friendly tone from you, because it's such a drab story. You know, like when you remember your sister, and when you remember, you know, the ball that you had and the train with the family, because I still remember some of the stuff I said. So I did it my way, and I booked it. And I think they said out of almost 3,000, 4,000 submissions, I got the job.
You got it.
Yeah, man.
Way to go.
Yeah, so if you ever go to the Smithsonian Holocaust in Washington, D.C., I'm the voice of Daniel, and my voice will be in the archives for life.
There you go. You're already immortal.
Banging. I am a 300-year-old vampire.
There you go.
So yeah, man, that was a fun gig.
So what we want you to do, we really don't want to stop because we're having so much fun here. But if you could look into your camera there, it was your pro, you know, anyway, and tell people your contact information, how they can keep up with your such a busy schedule that you have.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Let me see. First one would be, you can check me out on Instagram, and that's just Johnny.Alonso on Instagram. My website, JohnnyAlonso.com. Twitter, Johnny Alonso. And, of course, Facebook, Johnny Alonso. If you go to YouTube, I do have a YouTube page, and that's Johnny Alonso 1. So that should cover it. And,
all right.
Yeah, hit me up with email. I'll respond. I still have time.
Okay. Well, thank you for stopping by, Johnny, to our humble little studio here in Lansdowne.
It's a great place. I mean, I took the elevator all the way up to the 13th floor. This place is beautiful.
All right. So once again, thanks for stopping by, Johnny.
My pleasure.
And don't be a stranger.
No, I won't.
Well, when you come in town, we'll have you. If Marty can have you, I can have you.
Absolutely.
And also, you know, hey, you know, when you're doing Riddle House, we might do that Skype thing. I'd like to do that Skype thing.
That's a guarantee.
All right.
We'll do it from Hollywood.
That'd be terrific.
Thanks.
Live from Hollywood.
Yeah, man.
It's Johnny Alonso. All right, well then, I've got to stop. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We had another fun interview here at TV Free Baltimore's Movie Reviews with Johnny Alonso. And so until next time, this is Paul Stefan, and like they used to say, I'll see you at the movies.
We hope you're enjoying your visit here this evening. Now, on with the show.